My uncle's ruined his life over and over again, and the only reason I ever bail him out is because one thing he did for me back in the day that he will never let rest. And I swear he's running out of chances with me, guys. He's done something unthinkable. Hello, I'm 24 female and I'm dealing with something of a family dilemma. In fact, it's a huge understatement. What I'm dealing with right now is more aptly described as unthinkable insanity. There's a lot of background information I need to go over with you all, so this is going to be a long post. I just need to vent about the situation. I would appreciate any advice of the folks out there you're willing to throw at me. To get things rolling, let me tell you about my loser Uncle Billy. Uncle Billy's an immature screw-up. He works at Burger King and spends the rest of his time playing video games on his computer. He's 50. Or at least that's what I thought. He mostly supported, by his wife, Traina. She's a trophy wife if I've ever seen one. 10 years younger than him. She's gorgeous and way out of Uncle Billy's league. I don't know what she sees in Uncle Billy, but she apparently loves him enough to pay most of the bills. Cook for him, clean his apartment, and just generally be able to, enable him to continue being nothing more than a bump on a log. There have been plenty of times I had to lend Uncle Billy some money, or he would hit up Grandpa for extra cash even though he's pushing his 70s. I know Grandpa's disappointed in him, but instead of speaking up about it, he simply enables him just like the rest of the family does. Not to mention Uncle Billy has found other ways to put the women through sheer heck. He's quite promiscuous, and Traina has caught him texting other women trying to be flirty. Sometimes he actually succeeds at this, which blows my mind. I think Uncle Billy's clearly a creep that you could spot from hundreds of miles away, but I guess he's charming enough to pull the wool over people's eyes. There are a lot of negative things I could say about Uncle Billy. He's immature, he's rude, he's crass, he's lazy, you name it. But at the end of the day, he's still my Uncle Billy. We've had some good times together back when I used to be a hard drinker and a party animal. I changed my ways and cleaned up my lifestyle, but Uncle Billy helped me out in some ways I would rather not disclose here. To put it mildly, I always had that feeling that I owed one to Uncle Billy for what he did in the past to help me out. Even though I certainly have my problems with how he conducts his life and just how he chooses to treat people. Things haven't always been peaches and creams between us, and when I cleaned up my lifestyle and started working a decent job and living on the straight arrow, Billy scoffed me. He would make these little remarks about how I supposedly thought that I was better than him and the rest of the family. I guess since I wasn't running around gambling, getting drunk with Uncle Bill anymore, he had me pegged as some sort of square or lame-o. I don't really give a crap what anybody thinks about me, not even for a second, but it certainly can't get annoying when I'm forced to deal with Uncle Billy since he's still part of the family. I see him at functions and other meetings, and of course we live in the same small town. Well, I had something completely unexpected happen to me out of the blue the other day. And this is a crazy event in which I'm typing this post for you all. I was sitting in my apartment watching Orange, it's the new Black on Netflix. I just clocked out of a hard shift as a Starbucks manager, so I've been anticipating a nice peaceful evening of uninterrupted rest and relaxation. Unfortunately, Uncle Billy seemed to have some different plans in store for me that evening. To give a bit of context and clarification, I should point out that since I started cleaning up my lifestyle and making money, I suddenly became simultaneously the lame one for not wanting to party and goof off with everyone anymore. But I also became the one everyone likes to hit up for favors. It's funny. Grandpa warned me that this would happen. He said being the most responsible person in the family comes with a price to pay. And he's correct about that. So, considering this observation, I don't know why I was surprised when Uncle Billy pulled the stunt that he pulled this evening. As I was saying, I'm sitting on the couch getting ready for a nice evening indoors, and I get a frantic knock on my door. I never get unannounced visitors, especially not this late in the evening. My friends and most of my family members would have been kind enough to text me a heads up, right? The frantic knocking made it seem like there was a serious emergency at hand. So I ran towards the door and heard a voice shouting, "OP, open up!" I immediately recognized it to be Uncle Billy. I grew annoyed. What the heck was he doing here this late in the evening, bothering me after I worked hard at Starbucks all day? When I answered the door, I was greeted by the sight of Uncle Billy, standing with a young boy who could not be more than 7 or 8 years of age. I was not aware of Billy having a young son, so I was a bit perplexed, to put it mild. I asked Uncle Billy what's going on, and most importantly, who was this kid? Uncle Billy right away told me he didn't have time to explain all the details. He just said that I would have to watch this kid for a couple of days. Wow, he didn't even try to butter me up first. I asked Uncle Billy what exactly he meant by watching this kid for a couple of days. I don't even know how to raise a kid, and I've never even babysat. How am I supposed to, know what to do? I was growing quite incensed, and Uncle Billy's insolence. Look, you need to calm down, demanded Uncle Billy, quite rudely. I'm going to do my best to explain this to you because I don't have much time. This is Timmy, my friend's child. My friend is in the hospital, and she has absolutely nobody around who can watch Timmy. I have to go to the hospital to help take care of my friend, so I'm going to need you to watch Timmy for 2 days. Well, this was a lot of information to process at once, and it was not as if Uncle Billy seemed to be giving me the slightest choice in the matter. Before I could even voice my objection and process all of this junk being tossed at my brain, Uncle Billy ran off, hopped into his car, and sped away from the apartment complex as if he were being chased by the police or something. It was a ridiculous sight to behold, and here I was, stuck with a 7-year-old boy I've never even spoken to. What the heck was going on? Things were, as one might expect, quite awkward between me and Timmy at first. Well, I just tried getting him to open up a bit about his personal life and his likes and dislikes. I figured if Timmy was going to be stuck at my apartment for 2 days, I better make him comfortable and make sure he was treated well. After all, Uncle Billy told me Timmy's mother was hospitalized. Who knows what kind of stress this boy was under? I didn't want to make matters any worse for him, and I tried to make it clear to the child that my frustration and anger toward Uncle Billy had nothing to do with him. Clearly, the kid did not have a father around to watch him, while his mother was hospitalized, and if his mother was friends with Uncle Billy to begin with, the kid must have been caught amidst a wacky home environment. Not to sound rude or dismissive or even snooty, but it's usually only lowlives and miscreants who were close friends with Uncle Billy. And I don't know too many people on this planet who would even consider the notion of leaving him responsible for their 7-year-old child. Frankly, I wouldn't want Uncle Billy to be responsible for boiling water, let alone keeping a child safe. My attempts to ease Timmy's mind and provide him comfort were largely all for naught. He was quite evasive in his answers to my questions, and I began to notice that some inconsistencies in the various details he shared with me. I did not pry for gossip, but I started to get the sense that Timmy was hiding something from me for some reason. I thought perhaps his mother was in the hospital for some embarrassing reason. I even briefly considered that Uncle Billy might be having an affair with Timmy's mother, and that could explain the common closeness he shares with this person, but I put the thought out of my mind. I did not want to believe Uncle Billy would knowingly hurt Traina in such a way. Maybe Uncle Billy knew this woman as a work friend from Burger King. 2 days went by, and luckily I was off work from Starbucks, so watching Timmy did not interfere with my work schedule. However, the time to return to work was soon approaching, and it's been a little over 2 days at this point since Uncle Billy dropped Timmy off at my apartment. I began to grow anxious. I had a bad gut feeling about what was happening, and I was beginning to realize Uncle Billy might have duped me, but I did not want to believe this. I kept waiting and waiting for a call because Uncle Billy said that he would call, but guess what? No phone call came through. The anxiety got the best of me, and I decided to call Uncle Billy myself.
"Hello, who is this?"
asked Uncle Billy upon answering the phone, and I was shocked at the raw, insincere audacity. I knew damn well that he knew who I was. I was angry, but I did not expect him to be so cowardly and try to dodge me. I told him he knew who I was, and he knew that he left a 7-year-old boy at my apartment. Uncle Billy released a large sigh after listening to me explain as if I was bothering him.
Alright, I'm going to come clean with you about the truth of the situation. Timmy's not the boy of a hospitalized friend. I don't have a friend in the hospital for that matter. Timmy is my illegitimate child from a previous lover. This lover of mine found a new man and ran off with him, and she dropped Timmy off at the doorstep," said Uncle Billy. I was a bit speechless after this, but Uncle Billy's behavior in the past, how could I even be shocked? So he essentially just admitted to cheating on Traina and having an illegitimate child behind her back. When I called him out on his nonsense, he fed me the usual fake apologies and kept insisting that he would just need me to watch Timmy for a little while longer. When I asked him how much longer was a little while, he said a month. A month? That's right, a whole month. How was I supposed to take care of a growing boy for a month? I'm single, I live in an apartment alone, and my source of income is my job at Starbucks. I mean, come on. Uncle Billy said he would pay me every penny I spent on Timmy and would even throw in some extra money for my troubles. Well, I knew Billy was totally full of junk and feeding me sheer nonsense, but I did not have much of a choice in the matter. I knew I was going to have to take care of this kid for a month, no matter how I felt about the matter, and I reluctantly agreed. And I reiterated that I would most definitely be paid for the massive undertaking, and this was quite a favor I was being asked. Uncle Billy again reassured me that all my expenses would be more than taken care of in a month, when he returned from his family vacation. I had to wonder how exactly Uncle Billy could even afford a 1-month vacation on his Burger King wage, but I just had to trust that he was going to do the right thing here, because right now the well-being of Timmy does matter. Guys, am I crazy for thinking this is absolutely just totally ridiculous? I mean, does anybody even out there have any advice on how I should tackle this? Right now, I'm sitting in my apartment stressed out to the max, worried about how I'm going to juggle my Starbucks shift, my bills, my rent, and raising a 7-year-old boy for an entire month. And that's if Uncle Billy's even telling me the truth, and I hate to tell ya, but I'm beginning to think Uncle Billy does not have the ability to speak the truth about anything. Wish me luck, everyone. I'm going to need it for this crazy situation. Update number 1. Hello everybody, OP here with another update. I appreciate all the kind and supportive comments I've received. I'm glad I'm not the only person who thinks it's completely ludicrous that Uncle Billy has foisted his illegitimate child upon me without even giving me a say in the matter. Well, it's been a month since Uncle Billy's promise that this little arrangement of me watching Timmy would only last a month. Not to sound insensitive to Timmy and his needs as a child, but I've been marking off the days on my calendar. I'm simply not ready to raise a child. I had no prior training or experience, and there's not much of anything in my apartment that is of any use to a 7-year-old boy. I had to buy groceries he liked. I had to buy toys for him to play with. I mean, it was exhausting, and on top of that, I've been paying for him to go to daycare when I have to go into my shift at Starbucks. I'm behind on my bills because I've been spending a ton of money on Timmy. A boy this young is expensive and needs a lot of food nourishment and entertainment to keep him busy and thrive. It's bad enough that the kid's not in school, so I was also trying to read to Timmy and keep his brain functioning, so he doesn't end up like Uncle Billy or, one of his crooked cronies. It's been an awkward situation, but eventually Timmy did seem to warm up to me. We get along, but still I'm young and have my whole life ahead of me. I don't want to be settled down with a child until I'm absolutely sure of my decision. So, I called Uncle Billy with glee today. I knew from experience the coward would not call himself, and he answered the phone and once again asked me, "Who is this?" This trick again, huh, Billy? I already had a bad feeling about this, and I cut right to the chase and did not want to give Uncle Billy a chance to start running his mouth. I asked him when he would be picking up Timmy, and I reminded him of our arrangement and the promise to pay me for my troubles. I wasn't going to let this clown off the hook, or at least thought that I wasn't. Uncle Billy took on a sympathetic and caring tone, and I immediately knew that he was full of baloney. He said that I should just adopt Timmy because we've apparently bonded so much over the past month. Is Uncle Billy crazy? The whole month has been a huge struggle to me. I tried fighting back against Uncle Billy, but he has a habit of talking over people until people give in and give him his way. He's like a teenager, but worse. I told him he needed to pick up Timmy. And finally, Uncle Billy flat out said that he's not going to pay me anything for all my work and expenses now. This jerk threatened to out me to the whole family for my secret past. I might as well come clean with all you now. I was involved in illegal gambling and other sordid behavior before I cleaned up my act and changed my ways in life. Uncle Billy bailed me out of jail once after I was busted for illegal gambling, and I changed my ways and beat my addiction. The thing is, Uncle Billy also just held this over me. And now he was threatening to tell my whole family about it when I was in jail and ruin my whole reputation. I tried to voice my objections, but Uncle Billy hung up the phone and he would not answer any more further calls. Update number 2. Hey everybody, I'm back for another update. I feel so stuck. I feel hopeless, like I've been backed into a corner, so I thank everyone who's been commenting, and I'm going to cut right to the chase. I'd hoped that it would not come to this, but I was at the end of my ropes here, so I decided it would be best to turn to Grandpa for guidance in this situation. Of course, I knew nothing, involving Grandpa in the situation to help me with Timmy, and Uncle Billy was also going to involve me coming clean about my past. This was going to be a difficult pill to swallow, but you know what? I had to do it. I went to Grandpa's house and knocked on the door. I wanted to have this discussion in person. It was for the best. If Grandpa truly cared about me, surely he would accept me for who I am and judge me for, who I've become today. I decided to take little Timmy along with me. When Grandpa opened the door, the first thing he asked about was Timmy. I'd hoped that we could exchange pleasantries first, but I could not keep it in any longer. I told him about Timmy and Uncle Billy, and Grandpa looked shocked and appalled. He was so hurt that his own son could not only cheat on his own spouse, but also he would father an illegitimate child and try to pawn it off on his niece. Grandpa held his face in his hands and said to me, "I can't believe I raised such a turd." That's when I told him that there's something else he needs to know. I came clean about my past and the gambling addiction I had. I was hooked on illegal gambling, from online poker to shady back alley games where the stakes were dangerous, and I admitted that I got arrested and Uncle Billy bailed me out. Grandpa was quite disappointed in that. He gave me a good scolding, but he also told me that he was proud of who I became. Grandpa told me, "I'm going to aid you in your help to get revenge against your uncle." He told me that it was the least he could do for me, for Traina, and for Timmy, and Grandpa words were like music to my ears. I'll let you guys all know what happens next. Update number 3. Hello guys, I'm back with yet another update. Let's cut right to the chase because there's a lot to go over. Grandpa gave me a great idea to help me turn the tables on that dastardly Uncle Billy. Oh, this is going to be sweet, sweet revenge on that foul piece of garbage. I called up Uncle Billy with Grandpa's advice fresh in my mind. Uncle Billy's phone went right to voicemail. I told Uncle Billy that if he did not pay me everything he owed me, I was going to take Timmy to his house and show him to his wife. I knew he was on the other end of the line listening, and sure enough, this threat made him answer the phone, really quick. Uncle Billy agreed to transfer over the money, and he promised to pick up Timmy from my apartment. I laughed and told him Timmy was at Grandpa's house, not my apartment. That's when Uncle Billy truly lost it. I'll spare you guys the details, but he was cursing me, pitching a fit, saying things no one should ever say to anybody, let alone an uncle to his own niece. I had satisfaction knowing that I had power here, and Uncle Billy knew it as well. And I could tell it drove him insane, mad even. He knew that he had no choice in the matter, and I simply told him that he could meet me at Grandpa's tomorrow or suffer the consequences. I had no time for Uncle Billy's junk. I hung up the phone and silenced his number, and it was time to kick this plan into high gear. Update number 4. Hey everyone, time for another update in this crazy saga. This is going to be a good one. Boy, I think you will all like what happened to my stupid Uncle Billy. I'm going to cut right to the chase here and fill you out on what happened. Uncle Billy showed up at Grandpa's place the day after the phone call just like he promised. Wow, Uncle Billy was actually on time for once? I'm shocked. He walked into Grandpa's house and things were tense from the get-go. Uncle Billy was acting panicked and erratic, and it seemed like he might have been drinking, on the way over even. I guessed Uncle Billy could not handle the slightest bit of adulthood stress in his life, and he just immediately began demanding to see his illegitimate kid, as if he could not be bothered to remember his own son's name. Grandpa snapped at this, and he gave Uncle Billy a piece of his mind. Grandpa had a way with words, and he was very commanding, authoritative even. It was nice to see a bully like Uncle Billy hear some of the truth of what the family's been thinking about him. Uncle Billy needed to hear the truth. Well, of course, Uncle Billy immediately began shifting blame and deflecting and making excuses. He started talking over Grandpa and demanding to see his, quote, illegitimate son. Before his wife found out, of course, and oh boy, he was in for a rude awakening because he gave himself away when he said that. What poor Uncle Billy did not know was that me and Grandpa had already told his wife about this. She was heartbroken, she was in distress, and I hated delivering that news to her. I did. But she needed to know. She needed to know exactly what type of person Uncle Billy would always be. And Traina was in the other room listening to the whole thing. And oh boy, you should have seen Uncle Billy's face when she walked out and confronted him. His lies and excuses were of little use against his wife. Witnessing this junk with her own eyes, it was crazy. His wife told Uncle Billy straight up that he could expect divorce papers in the mail soon enough because their relationship was completely over. There was no fixing it. Uncle Billy was pathetically crying, sobbing, and all Grandpa did was shake his head in disapproval and wag his little finger, telling Uncle Billy to get off his property before he called the police. I was proud to see Grandpa and Traina stand up to Uncle Billy's madness. His poor behavior had gone unchecked for far too long, and it was high time some karma slapped him right in the face. Uncle Billy ran to the car and drove away like a coward. He left Timmy behind, and I wouldn't exactly call that scoundrel Father of the Year, if you know what I mean. Anyways, I'm going to let you all know what happens next, so stay tuned. Final update. Hello, people out there. Although I've enjoyed my time with the peeps out there who have left all the kind and supportive comments throughout this ordeal, I'm relieved to say that this is actually going to be my final update. I think this ludicrous saga has finally been wrapped up quite nicely, and I just want to thank you all again because I could not have gotten through this mess without your help. Let's cut right to the chase, shall we? A lot of you were asking about what happened with Timmy. After all, his well-being is most important, isn't it? It's not his fault he was thrust upon this world by a clown like Uncle Billy. Some people simply are not meant to be parents, and it's not Timmy's fault that he got stuck with a turd of a father. Grandpa decided to adopt Timmy. He feels as though he owes the world a new son since he admits that he failed with Uncle Billy, and I've also been helping Grandpa raise Timmy. After going through all this drama together, me and Timmy have become close. I'm happy to say we all consider Timmy one of the family now, so he was truly the silver lining in this whole mess. As for what became of Uncle Billy and Traina, well, Traina made good on her word and divorced that sucker, like he was a rotten bag of apples. Of course, it's not as if Uncle Billy had much of a chance to protest the decision and try to change her mind, because shortly after he left Grandpa's house after the last update, Uncle Billy was pulled over and arrested for blackmailing me. Oh, and also, well, he was charged with child endangerment, child neglect, and a host of other charges, and to top it all off, Uncle Billy was caught drinking a whole bottle of Jack Daniels when he was pulled over. So, he got charged with a DUI. The judge sentenced him to a hefty time, and this was his 5th arrest in the past decade. Guys, he's going to be behind bars for years. Traina mailed the divorce papers to the local prison. Seeing Uncle Billy's downfall was a sweet, sweet victory for me. Thank you guys so much for reading.
You know, this is one of the stories where you see the character just play out over and over through the updates, and I'll tell you right now, Uncle Billy, I think he deserved everything he got, and by that I mean being sent to prison. What he was doing was so ridiculous, leaving a 7-year-old alone with a complete stranger to the 7-year-old. I mean, how do you think the 7-year-old was feeling during all of this? I want to know your thoughts on today's stories, how you would have handled Uncle Billy. And we do know at the end of the story, Grandpa took in little Timmy and OP, and they were basically being raised together. So that's a good little note, at least, but it does make me wonder, Grandpa's 70. Does he have the energy to look after a 7-year-old? I want to know your thoughts, guys. Drop it down below. Let's discuss this one. My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories like this every single day, and if you haven't gotten the chance yet, and you do like these daily videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the bell notification as well, so you know whenever the next story comes out. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and just remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.